Hi, R6S4 here. Um, Sorry about my air conditioner. I've done a couple of takes already. This thing's loud as hell. It's really high here in Pennsylvania for some reason. It's like 80 degrees in PA, that's hot. Anyway, support hunter build coming out tomorrow for Destiny 2. Consistent uploads start now. More consistent uploads. I'm expecting to get video out daily. Anyway, today I'm talking about Starfield and what my expectations were for the game, the weird meta score, and the game itself and why I'm let down by the game. So, let's begin by saying I'm a space nerd. My interest in space goes from stuff that's widely covered, like black holes, different planets, galaxies, to stuff more obscure, like pulsars and brown dwarfs that not many people know about. I love space. It's what gave it my interest in that gave me my interest in Destiny 2, No Man's Sky, and seeing Starfield come out as like a blend between the two with Destiny's combat, sort of Destiny combat, and No Man's Sky exploration. I was so hyped. And then after this idiot got burned by Anthem, I watched gameplays and reviews. More gameplays because I want to get a feel for the game. Seeing it in live motion makes me feel, it gives me more of an attachment to the game than just watching a review. But what I expected for the game was, a generic Bethesda game. But I expected something a little bit more outside of the futuristic setting. Just something a little bit more to make it stand out amongst the crowd of many Bethesda RPG games like Skyrim. What I didn't expect was essentially getting a Fallout 4 mod that makes it all futuristic based. That's essentially what I got. That's not good. So I went online, looked at what other people were saying, and it's clear many other people were disappointed by the game. Or they were having a lot of fun, and that is completely fine. You can have fun with the game. I'm not here to change your opinion at all. If you already have the game and you're having a lot of fun. What I'm here to talk about is just what I see. Now, I didn't play the game. But that's also because I didn't think the game was worth my time or money. So I then went to the Metacritic to see what critics were saying, and I was expecting around like a 60, 65 out of 100, and what I saw was 86. I'm like, there's no shot. And so I looked, and what I saw was a lot of paid shills, essentially, for lack of a better term, just reviewing the game and giving it like 10 out of 10s. Now, a lot of them did have Xbox in their name, which, yeah, that checks out. It's a Microsoft exclusive, so makes sense as to why they would give it 10 out of 10s. And don't call me a Sony fanboy for hating. I know Sony does it too. They do that same exact thing where they buy out reviewers and artificially inflate the score to get more and more people to buy, which I think is scummy, because some people buying a game, they can only buy like a game like once every few months or so. They have to actually take their time and think about what they're buying. And seeing these high reviews, it can make them feel scammed, since they don't have a lot of money to buy games anymore. And seeing that just hurts realistically, because these scores are completely misleading and are misleading people entirely. Now, if you do think the game's a 10 out of 10, you're oblivious to all the problems, but fine, I'll accept your opinion. But how can you ignore the vast variety of problems that the game has? And before I go on to that, there were some reviews for an RPG that were like 5 hours into the game. They only did a couple of main missions and a couple of side missions. This is an RPG. These games are designed around being played for 20, 30 hours. You barely even played a quarter of the game. Not even. So I'm sorry, but you're not able to review this game. You gotta get close to the end. Personally, if I do reviewing, that's where I'm going. I'm going close to the end of the game. Then I'm gonna review. And if I deem the game not worth my time, I'm probably not gonna finish it. I would say that in the review that I did see the game. But I would probably just YouTube it anyway. But anywho, let's get to the vast variety of problems. As a lot of them, it's much trying to do this generic YouTuber thing. This content creator here, I'm not saying their name because I know I would mispronounce it. I'm bad with pronunciation. I know that. I know that very well. So, what I've seen from them is a comparison between Cyberpunk and Starfield. And I saw how bad the water is in that game. Now we know that's an epic, but that is immersion breaking. Completely. Because jumping from like a 15-meter high peak all the way down into water, you just float in Starfield. You do not sink underneath the ground, and you can come up like you can in Cyberpunk. And then you have other things like the waves in the water that just don't look natural when you move. They just essentially just exist. It just looks weird and immersion breaking to me personally. That thing was terrible. It just looks weird. Okay, let's just put it that way. It just looks really, really weird. Then you have stuff like the officers who stand there like this, like they have a stick up their ass, they don't even move, they do nothing, and the one time they move, it looks kind of stiff to me. As they just stand there watching you blow your load with a 50-round submachine gun that resembles a P90. They just stand there doing nothing. Now again, that is a nitpick, but compare that to even Skyrim, not just Cyberpunk. Looking at Skyrim, the officers react to you shouting a spell, and they tell you to stop. Apparently that's too good for Starfield. And then you have other things that show you how much care actually went into making the set pieces. And the set pieces are great, as well as the combat and the graphics. All that stuff is well done and looks great until you start diving deeper into the set pieces, as some of them don't even look finished. Like there's this one where you have to enter into like what looks like a decontamination room or something. I'll link the Breeza video if I pronounced your name right there. Please somebody correct me on pronunciation of their name. Again, I already showed you the name, so please let me know. You can clearly see that there's a whole room not even there. And when you actually enter into the room, you're like in this vague space where there's nothing. It looks so weird and stupid. Then you have God out here just plopping people into existence on the moon. They didn't even go through childhood. They didn't even give birth. They just exist now on the moon right next to one of their colleagues. It looked so weird and is so bizarre to me that happened. I'm like, what is going on? Then you have other problems from performance, and I'll leave a link to an Optimus video where he reviews it in the description. And I I like Optimus as a content creator. He's great. If you see his video, tell him I sent you just some random no name on the internet. But he did a great review on the game, and he even said he liked it, but he had to acknowledge that the performance problems, which he said he didn't have any. But here's the key. He said he didn't have any because he was using an SSD. Now, if you're on Steam and you go to requirements, you'll see at the very bottom, the last note states that SSD is required. When you download the game, it's probably going to go to your hard drive. And if you play the game on your hard drive, that's where the bugs happen. So, if you're on PC, check to make sure the game's not on your hard drive. Check to make sure it's on an SSD. So that way, the game actually runs like it should. Sorry. Make sure that's on SSD if you're on PC. And then you have the whole lock-picking system, which is changed severely from the Fallout 1. And it's just worse. From what I've seen, it just looks bad, much like what Optimus said. Again, watch his video. He does a great job. Now, I brought up mods with going in the third person and seeing how unfinished some of these set pieces are, even though at first they look great. And they just fall apart. People are like, oh, modding is great, and even Optimus said the whole modding part of the game is great and everything. To me, the base game ain't good enough for those mods. It feels like Bethesda got lazy and said, we'll just ship the game now. We have the modding community to fix the rest of the game. They'll do it for us. That's essentially what it feels like to me. Yes, it's nice that the game has mods, and no, I'm not hating on the modders or anything like that, or even the company for even using mods. Because getting the community involved like that is great. The problem I have with it is when they just deliberately don't put in enough effort because they know the modders will fix it for them. That's the problems I have with it. Where the devs and somebody over at Bethesda Game Studios just gets lazy and doesn't want to finish their job to make it so there isn't like 50 different mods fixing this one random Pluto bug where Pluto doesn't even exist. Apparently it's coming out for $15 DLC for some reason. I don't know where Pluto went. It says it's there on the map. From watching a Twitch stream, it says it's there. It's supposed to be there, yet you just go through, the streamer goes through a vlog and there's nothing. Where is Pluto? Apparently it's been shafted and is now being sold for DLC, apparently. Okay, that's a joke. That's not really the case. At least I hope not. Because then, at that point, why would Pluto be a node when you're in space? It makes no sense to me. But, yeah. Having seen and watched enough gameplay to give a vivid idea of what the game is, I'm not buying Starfield. I think you shouldn't either. And if you buy the game and you like it, that's fine. But understand where I'm coming from, where I'm disappointed. Where I feel like I was being misled a little bit by the reviews. And why I think Bethesda is getting lazy. So, alright guys, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a like. Share this video. Get this message out. Not buying Starfield, to actually get more polished stuff and not have this weird stuff happening. I get it's Bethesda, but even then still, this is unacceptable. And please subscribe. again, more consistent uploads start now, and you enjoy. Hope you enjoy. English 100. If you couldn't already tell, I am very fluent in the language of English. All right, be good out there.